All right, let's go back on the record. We're now meeting in front of the jury. All jurors are present, all counsel and Mr. Winslow are present. All right, Mr. Owens, you can continue your redirect examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, you were asked on cross-examination some questions about the way that Mr. Winslow made contact with you, whether it was a grab or a touch. You remember those questions?
Yes.
And I know you've demonstrated a number of times, but based on your best ability to describe what he did he grab you?
How you call this? Is it a grab or is it a touch? But this is what I felt. His hand on my arm, but just like that.
And did he wrap his fingers around the elbow of your arm and pull his hand together?
Just this.
All right, again, making the same type of motion the court described earlier.
Thank you, Your Honor. And when you were being asked those questions, you recall that that was within the context during your pretrial hearing testimony in front of this court, this judge. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
And when you were asked about that, the preceding questions were, when you initially saw the defendant entering into the pool with the towel wrapped around his waist, was anyone inside the jacuzzi with you? And you responded, there was nobody. Do you recall that?
Yes, it was nobody.
You were asked, and when he reached and touched you on the right arm, did you attempt to pull away? And you responded, exactly. Do you recall that?
Did I answer exactly?
Yes.
He didn't try to pull me. He just grabbed me.
Right. And the question was, when he reached and touched you on the right arm, did you attempt to pull away? And then you responded exactly.
Yes, I pull away.
And then you were asked, with his right arm, he touched you on the left arm, did you try to pull away? And you said, I moved, and a couple minutes later, or maybe 1 minute later, with his foot, he touched my left leg. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And then you began to describe how he touched your foot with his leg. Is that right?
Right.
Now, were you asked, do you recall being asked, were you upset? And you responded, I was so upset, I was so sick of...
This is rehabilitation for non-impeached testimony.
Overruled, it goes to the area on cross regarding the grabbing of the arm. You can continue your question.
Thank you, Your Honor. When asked, were you upset, you responded, I was so upset, I was so sick of what I'm going through, and I could not move from there. Do you recall that testimony?
Right.
And then you were asked, based on the way he touched you, did you think he was trying to get your attention? And you responded, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, did he touch you shortly after he had been moving his arm in the way that appeared to be masturbating?
Right after.
And then the question that was asked of you on cross-examination by Mr. Carlos regarding that prior testimony was, you were asked, when he grabbed your arm on the elbow, did he try to pull you towards him or just touch you? And that's when you responded, just touch me.
Just touch me. Yes.
And that was in response to a question of whether he was pulling you towards him.
Exactly. And not pulling me. Just touch me.
Right. And when you're describing the way that he made physical contact, he put his hand on your elbow and he clenched his fingers together.
Right.
Is that right? And did you take that to be him trying to get your attention to what he was doing?
That's exactly what he tried to do.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, recross.
Yes, real quick. Can I get 164 back up here?
This is what, 164
164.
or 64?
164.
164, thank you.
Ma'am, you see the picture, right?
Yes.
So the machine that, let me ask you this question. This machine right here that I'm pointing to with the two red things, see it?
Yeah.
Actually, they're all red, right? That's a bad, they're all machines too.
They all,
The
yes.
second one from the right,
Yes.
okay? Is that the machine that's like the leg abductor?
That's the machine he was using.
Okay,
Indicating the
third one,
third one from the right.
okay? This is the same machine over here.
That's the machine, but the motion is different. One you put your legs inside, and the other one you put outside and push like that.
Okay, so the one that you pointed to, the third one, is that
This
the,
one.
is that the one you put your legs inside and push out?
That, yeah, you push the metal parts inside and outside.
Okay, so for the record, the witness is indicating that, with their hands inwards, you push out, right?
Right.
Okay, and this machine over here to the right, on the far right, what is that?
That's a machine.
Bad question. What type of machine is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a machine.
Do you use that machine?
This
Is that the machine you were using while Mr. Winslow was on that machine?
No, I was all the machines around the side, and it happened that when I was facing him, I was using this machine.
Okay, so that's the farthest one to the left.
That's right next to it.
Okay. So you're facing him and he's facing the parking lot, right?
Yes. I'm not facing him, I'm facing the open area, and he facing, just like that. He facing the parking lot, and I'm facing inside the area,
Okay. So does,
sitting.
okay, and for the record, she's made her hands make opposing directions.
Right, they're looking at 180-degree different directions. All right? So you're looking in opposite directions. He's looking one way and you're looking the other, correct?
Exactly, we just like that.
Okay, all right,
It's me and him.
all right. Next question.
And to see his crotch, you would have to then look down and over?
No, it's right next to me. I don't have to bend over.
I mean, you have to turn though. You have to turn to see it.
He's open his legs. I'm next to him,
Right.
and I'm using the machine, so you have to see what happened.
But do you have to turn left to look at him or right to look at him?
You just look. You just, it's
That's the
there.
question. Which way are you looking, left or right?
Left.
Okay. Finally, when you testified about about Mr. Winslow moving over to, after the man left, and he went over to the other side of the jacuzzi, and he was rubbing his hands, right? Remember that, you said that?
Yeah.
Okay, was that, he was using the jets on that side, correct?
He just moved there.
Okay, were there jets over there that you,
The jets over there.
do you recall testifying that that's what he did, that he went over there to use the jets?
Yeah, jets over there.
Okay, and so while he was over there by the jets, he was saying this feels good.
Probably that's what he meant.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
One moment here. Sorry.
I'm sorry?
We have one moment.
Yes, go ahead.
You got out of the pool? After you got out of the pool, your husband was in the main pool, right? Yes?
Yes,
And that's when you told your husband that that's the guy?
yes.
And did your husband say that that's the football player?
He never did.
Okay.
He never knew. We never knew until the fact, after we reported, and the police came to my house, that we found out who the guy was.
Okay, your husband never told the police that? Your husband never told the police that he recognized him at the pool?
No, because he did not recognize him.
Thank you.
All right, anything further?
No, thank you.
Okay, can this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your testimony, and thanks for coming back again today.
Okay.
You are excused.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
You can go with the deputy and you can head out to the back. All right, why don't we go ahead and take our morning recess at this point. We'll take a 15-minute break. Please remember the admonition, don't discuss the case with anybody. We'll see you back here in 15 minutes. All right, we are back on the record. The record reflects the presence of all jurors, all counsel, and Mr. Winslow are present. All right, Mr. Owens, you can call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people now call Robert C., with just a reminder to the media.
Okay, all right, the media cannot show this witness's face. All right?
He's coming.
Oh, through the back? Okay. Wait just a moment. Just let me know when you're ready, okay? I'm sorry, we need just a moment. The court reporter's machine is malfunctioning, so we'll get started in just a moment. It was bad timing on our part to bring you in right at this point.
It's all right.
I don't have anything, but so I'll go without. Are you up and running? You're good? Okay. All right, sir, if I could have you stand and face the clerk and raise your right hand. She's going to administer, this way over here to your left, sir. There's the clerk over there. Okay, go ahead.
You do solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated.
All right.
And sir, if you would, could you please tell us your first name?
Robert,
And could you spell that for us?
Robert.
And does your last name begin with the letter C?
Correct, C.
Thank you. You may be seated.
All right, have a seat.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for being here. We are not going to use your last name to protect the anonymity of your wife. All right, so what we will do, it's very informal, but we're going to refer to you just as Robert, okay? Just so we don't have to disclose your last name. It's a bit of an informal way of referring to you in a formal setting, but that's what we're going to do, okay? I'm going to ask if you could move your seat forward and speak into the microphone. And this is Mr. Owens. He's the prosecutor in this case. He's going to start asking you a few questions. All right, so Mr. Owens, direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Robert. I apologize for having to refer to you by your first name. I don't mean to be informal, but as the court said, I'll speak up. As the court said, I don't mean to be informal, but I will be referring to you by your first name if that's okay, in order to protect the anonymity of your wife. Is that all
Yes.
right with you?
It's okay.
Now, first, let me show you what's been marked as Court's Exhibit 5 for identification. Do you recognize the woman on the television screen to your right?
Yes,
And for purposes of today's proceedings, we're going to refer to her as Jane Doe 5. Are you aware of that?
yes,
Now, who is that woman?
Don't use her name, but is that your wife?
that's right. She's-
Okay, we just don't want you to use her true name, okay? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Robert, I want to talk to you about some incidents that happened at the Crunch Fitness Gym in Carlsbad. Do you recall in February of this year, your wife telling you something had happened that made her uncomfortable?
Yes, I do.
The first time that she spoke to you about that, do you recall the specific date, yes or no?
Sometime in February, I really don't remember the date.
Now, where was it that the conversation took place when she first brought up the first incident?
She told me in the car, going home.
Had you been working out at the gym that day?
Yes, we work out together, yes.
Do you and your wife have a regular routine of when you go to the gym together?
Yes,
How was it brought up in the car ride home?
she just explained to me, she said, something happened today, and she explained what happened, and quite honestly, I was shocked.
Was she upset when she was describing what happened?
Yes, I would say so.
When she told you what happened, you said you were shocked, is that right?
That's correct.
What was it that she said happened on that first day?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Excited utterance, Your Honor.
Well,
You want to explain what you
just a
said?
moment. If you're offering it as an excited utterance, there's insufficient foundation, but the court will allow it as a consistent statement.
That's fine.
So go ahead, under 791, section B, you can answer.
She said that this individual person was exercising in the same area right near her, and they seemed to be drawing attention to himself in the exercises, and particularly his lower area, although he had his clothes on, a lower area. And he then said to her, "Do you see it?" Pointing to his penis area. And she said, and then he said, "Do you like it?" And at that point, she said, she yelled, "What did you say?" And the person, she said, just kind of faded away, didn't come up.
Did she tell you that he had been rubbing or stroking his penis while exercising?
Yes, he told me that too, yes.
While he was exercising next to her, is that when it happened?
Yes, yeah.
When she told you that on that day, how did you respond?
I said to her, "We have to report this to the gym."
How did she respond to you when you told her you needed to report this to the gym?
Absolutely.
How did she respond?
She said she didn't want to do that.
Did she
said
explain
She didn't
why?
want to be, involved with a confrontation with somebody possibly, and just said, so, I just said to her, okay, I mean, that's the way you feel.
Did you respect her wishes after this first occasion and not report it on her behalf?
Well, did I respect her wishes? Yes, but I did speak to the manager of the gym because we're on speaking terms, of course. And I have related to him the incident, and his answer was, well, she would have to file a complaint in order for this to be something done about it. So that was the end of that. I mean, from that point on, I didn't say anything to her or anything else about the incident.
Was there a second incident where your wife brought to your attention that something had happened again?
Yes, there was.
Did she say whether or not the person in the second incident was the same person from the first incident?
Yes, she told me that. As a matter of fact, and she told me, this is the person. Well, I didn't know who the person was.
Now, in terms of the second incident, how much time after the first incident did this take place?
I'm only gonna guess at the times. I was gonna say maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks at most.
Is that your best recollection?
Yeah, right.
Now, when the second incident happened, where was it that your wife first told you something had happened that made her uncomfortable? Where did that conversation take place?
It took place in the pool. So, you want me to explain why?
Well, first let me ask you, when you were having that conversation in the pool, did she point out the man who had done this on both occasions?
Absolutely.
Did you see that man?
Yes.
While you were in the pool area?
Yes.
Do you see
He was
that
in the
man?
jacuzzi, yeah.
Do you see that man in court today?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state where that person is seated and what he's wearing for the record?
He's seated over there, second from the right, wearing glasses.
Second from the right?
Left, sorry, second from the left.
Okay, second from the left wearing glasses?
Right.
All right, the record will reflect identification of the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
I do need to walk.
Okay, let's go off the record for just a moment. The court reporter's machine is malfunctioning. Yeah, you can all talk amongst yourself if you want while we're waiting, obviously. Yeah, okay, did you get the,
You may have to disconnect it really quick.
okay. Oh, no, I don't care about mine. Did you get the identification on the record?
I'm sorry.
Did you get his identification of the defendant on the record? That's good? Okay. All right, you're set? Okay. All right. Let's go back on the record. The court reporter has addressed the malfunctioning issue. So, Mr. Owens, you can pick up, the court identification is on the record, so you can start from there.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. When you saw the defendant in the pool area of the Crunch Fitness, where was he?
He was in the jacuzzi.
What did you see the defendant doing while he was in the jacuzzi after your wife had pointed him out?
He was standing up in the jacuzzi, and I saw that he only had a small towel covering her where a bathing suit should be and wasn't.
What did he do when he stood up wearing what you just described?
What did he do? Well, he started to leave the jacuzzi. He stood up and she was talking to me, and she just was telling me that this was the fellow. It's the first time I'd really seen him. And he stood up and then left.
When you saw him in that moment, when you were at the jacuzzi, did you recognize him from anything at that point?
No, not at all.
What did you and your wife do after you saw the defendant that she had pointed out and after he left the jacuzzi area?
I told her that we're going to immediately report this to the management, and you have to report it.
How did she respond when you told her that?
She agreed.
Did you at least attempt to report it to the manager that same day?
Yes, the manager wasn't there. He left.
And when you're referring to the manager, is that someone who you actually are on a first name basis with?
That's correct.
Who would that be?
That's Brad.
Do you know Brad's last name?
Let me think now. Senior moment.
It's okay if you don't.
No, it's not Pitt. I forget his last name.
That's fine. Now, Brad wasn't there on the 22nd of February, is that fair to say?
That's correct, yes. When the pool incident happened, he wasn't there.
Did you return to the gym the following Monday for your regular exercise routine?
Yes, we did.
And when you returned to the gym, did you speak with Brad, or did your wife speak with Brad?
We both spoke with Brad. I went up to him and I said, we have to talk to you now. And I explained to him that something happened with my wife. And then she spoke to him and explained to him what happened.
Now, after you and your wife spoke to the gym employees and reported this on the 25th, did the police come to your home to take a formal report?
The police came to my home that night, that Monday night.
And did they take a report from you and your wife?
Yes,
Now, when the police came to your home, did you connect the dots at all once they were talking to you about what had happened?
well, absolutely. They had told us, we're here because of what happened in the gym. So we want to talk to you about it. Oh, yes.
When they were speaking to you about that, did you recognize the person you had seen in the jacuzzi from someplace else, from some other source?
No, I didn't, no.
When you talked to them that night, do you recall whether or not you had ever seen Mr. Winslow, the defendant you identified in court, on the news?
No,
Had you seen Mr. Winslow on the news at any point in time before today?
before today,
Yes.
no.
Now, in terms of the, what you recall talking to the police about that night, did you ever point out the defendant that you identified in court and say that you recognized him as a football player?
No, absolutely not.
When you and your wife were talking to the police on that night, did you in fact tell them that you had seen the defendant on the news at some point?
No,
Had your wife ever seen the defendant on the news?
No.
Speculation.
Sustained, you can rephrase.
I will. To your knowledge, based upon your regular routine with your wife, and do you know whether she had ever seen him on the news?
no.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Cross?
Thank you. Mr. C, I'll call you Mr. C. Or you like Robert better?
I have a problem hearing, so please speak up.
Do you mind if I call you Mr. C?
Okay,
Okay, Mr. C. The officers came to your house that night, correct?
that's right,
Right. And they spoke with you and your wife.
that's correct.
And you witnessed your wife tell her story to the officer, right?
That's correct.
Right. And your wife told the officer regarding the jacuzzi incident that at one point she felt his arm touch her arm. Do you remember that? That's what she told him, right?
Yes,
Okay. And your wife was being truthful with the police, wasn't she?
of course.
Right. And then later, she told the officer that she felt his foot on her leg, right?
Yes,
And her response, she says, once his foot touched her leg, she said, "Was that your fucking foot on my leg?"
yes,
And at that point, the individual didn't say anything, but just moved away. Is that right? That's what
Are
she-
you asking if that's what he heard his wife tell the police?
Correct. That's what the wife told me.
yes,
Right. Now, shortly after, she said that you came outside to the pool area, right?
that's correct.
And at that point, she pointed out that individual whom she originally told you about in the car, right?
That's correct.
And she says, "That's the guy, right?"
She didn't point, she said, that's the person, yeah.
But she directed your attention towards that
That's
individual.
correct.
Right. And at that point, you said, "He's the football player, the guy who has the problem." That's what your wife told the police that night, right?
Okay, I don't think so, but, can I tell you when I first knew that he was a football player?
Well, I'm asking you, that night, when your wife was speaking to the police,
Yeah,
she told the police that after she informed you and pointed out the guy, your response was, "He's the football player, the guy who has the problem." That's what you told the police, didn't she?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just to be clear, you're asking if this witness said that to the police?
No, I'm asking that he, when he was there, watched his wife say that to the police.
No,
You didn't remember her saying that at all?
no,
Okay. She then told the police that she looked up Kellen Winslow on the internet, the person who she identified as the guy, right?
as far as I know, no,
And you were there during the whole time that the police and your wife were speaking?
of course.
Okay. And it's your recollection right now that you never told her while you were at the pool, once she identified him to you, that, "Hey, that's the football player. That's the guy who has the problem."
Absolutely not,
Okay. So if an officer came in here and said that that's what you said, they would be wrong, right?
absolutely.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, any redirect? Go ahead.
When did you first know that the person your wife identified was a football player?
When we reported it to the manager, Brad, he then told me that he was, I said, "He looks like he's a football player." He said, he is a football player, and he told me who he was. So, that's the first time I knew.
After that conversation, or first, when you had that conversation, is that the first time you realized that the person who had done this to your wife may be a football player?
That's correct.
Prior to that conversation with the manager, Brad, did you know that the person who had done this to your wife was a football player?
No,
Now, did you or your wife actually contact the police to say that a football player had done this to her?
no,
Did they just show up at your house?
that's correct.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, anything else?
Yes. In addition, your wife told the police that this person is so sick, referring to the individual. Is that right?
No,
She didn't say that to the police?
no,
Okay. She went on to say that he is so sick if he continued to do something like that. That's what she told the police, right?
no, I don't recall what she told the police.
Okay. She also told the police that after she told you, you reported it to the manager. That's right, right?
Excuse me?
She told the police that after she told you of the incident, you reported it to the manager, right?
We both reported it to the manager.
And you called the individual a predator, right?
Who called it a predator?
You did.
No,
Thank you. Nothing further?
All right, anything further?
No.
Can this witness be excused?
You may.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much, sir, you are excused.
thank you, Your
Have a
Honor.
nice day, you can go out the
Right.
back door here, and watch your step when you step down. All right, thank you. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people.
No? Okay. Did you get everything?
It is, but I'd like to stop before it becomes.
Okay, do you need a few minutes? Okay. Well, we're not on a record, so it's malfunctioning, so we're gonna take our break. Please remember the admonition. How long do you need, Stephanie? 10 minutes?
10 minutes would be great.
All right, we'll take a 10-minute break. I apologize for the delay. We'll see you back here in 10 minutes.